This movie was originally a pitch by Begos to do a remake of 1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night. It was denied on the basis of being too far from the original's concept.
Santa's watching, Santa's creeping, now you're nodding, now you're sleeping. Were you good for Mom and Dad? Santa knows if you've been bad. There might be a treat for you in Santa's bag of toys, but Christmas won't be fun and games for naughty girls and boys. Oh, Santa's watching, Santa's waiting, everybody's celebrating. Did you do your best this year? Too late now, 'cause Santa's here.
Silent Night, Deadly Night is a 1984 Christmas horror film directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr. and written by Michael Hickey. The film follows Billy, a young man traumatized at the sight of Santa and dealing with abuse from Mother Superior. All of this culminates on his 18th Christmas, where he dons the red suit for one very deadly night. There's a good chance you've heard of this film due in part to its controversy, or else the infamous meme from the second film.
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
But when looking for a Christmas-themed film to review this year, I found that there were way more films than I thought. See, I knew there were 2, and I recall liking the reboot, but there's 6 in total. So it looks like my sack is nice and full for this most merry time. Put the kiddies to bed and put on your red suit. We got some holiday cheer to spread. We open to the film's Christmas song, Santa's Watching. Well, I hope he isn't listening because people sing this song multiple times throughout the film. I guess if you have a song, use it. Our young protagonist here is Billy, played by Jonathan Best. His family consisted of mom, dad, and his little brother Ricky, played here by Melissa Best. I guess their contract says they come as a package deal. The family's on their way to see Grandpa, and little Billy here is just worried he won't be in bed by the time Santa's supposed to show up. But it's Christmas, and you need to check in on family. I'm sure Grandpa will have so many emotions when he sees them.
Why doesn't Grandpa say something?
He doesn't hear us, honey. He doesn't even know we're here.
Then what did we come for?
Billy.
Well, we need to talk with the doctor and file some paperwork. Billy, make sure Gramps doesn't run away. I swear last time he left us, he came back with people calling him Dollar. Well, turns out Grandpa here was trolling way before the Modern Warfare days. The original Modern Warfare days. I feel older and older with each COD release. Well, Grandpa comes to life once a year, and he has some mighty important information for young Billy.
You see Santa Claus tonight? You better run, boy. You better run for your life.
I think you're confusing Santa with Krampus, and there he goes. Well, that's enough to traumatize a child, and when he tells his parents, even they are in disbelief. Well, let's cut away to a ho-ho holdup, as Santa, played by Charles Durkop, is in need of some cash for his holiday shopping. Boss man here must think he has some of that red-eye meter left, 'cause he goes for it.
So it's not all phony sentiment, is it?
A lot of it's genuine greed.
All right, you.
Well, that was an odd distraction. I'm sure this is like that razor blade kid in Halloween 2. No way they oh shit, they do cross paths. Pulling over the help, Santa guns down the father and attacks the mother. Billy runs and hides in the weeds. Meanwhile, Santa tries coming down another chimney. But he's been on the grind set for 364 days, so this is just too much work. So he gives her the gift of a smile. and we fade into December 1974. A lot has changed in the boys' lives. They live in an orphanage, and now Billy is played by Danny Wagner and Ricky by Max Broadhead. Things here aren't much better. Billy has PTSD, and Mother Superior, played by Lillian Chauvin, doesn't have the best means of treating him.
Simply because something unfortunate happened to his parents, which he knows nothing about, is no reason to allow him to run wild. He must be taught.
Sister Margaret, played by Gilmer McCormick, has a better read on the situation. So when Superior restricts Billy to his room, Sister Margaret decides to let him go outside. However, she doesn't walk him out, and he hears strange noises. Following the sounds, he finds two randos just going at each other. That is until Mother Superior steps in, scaring Billy off and cock-blocking the two sinners. She's having none of their shit as the belt comes out. Marching outside, she finds Billy and questions him about what happened. Okay, well, in terms of Billy, I think she handled this surprisingly well, and here I thought she had the bad habit of sadism. Lights are red, Santa's suit is redder, but Billy's ass is the reddest of them all. So in short, by the age of 8, Billy has seen his parents murdered, his mother assaulted, sexual acts he can't comprehend, beaten ruthlessly by a sadistic nun who even ties him to his bed. How much more can we fuck this kid up?
We still have our annual Christmas visit from Santa Claus. William will sit on Santa Claus' lap and behave.
What?
Oh my fucking god. When are we getting the prequel showing Mother Superior helped create MK Ultra? Well, on the bright side, I suppose hard times make hard men. Skipping to his 18th birthday, Billy is once again changed to be played by Robert Brian Wilson, and for future reference, his brother is now played by Alex Burton. The only nun with a streak of good habits, Sister Margaret, manages to get Billy a job at the local toy store. And while the methods are questionable, you cannot deny the results. Grew up with some sadistic authority figures and works in a warehouse. You and me, Billy. We aren't so different, you and I. Well, working at this nod to producer Ira Barmack store seems to go pretty well. Good boss, cute coworker. Only problem is it's Christmas once again. There's also a dickhead coworker, but I think the PTSD is the real problem here.
I didn't mean to be naughty. I'm sorry.
Don't punish me.
Don't punish me. Please.
The next day, the boss man walks in and tells Billy the bad news of their Santa breaking his leg. So, gonna need you to cover. I recognize that look all too much. Sister Margaret doesn't even need to see him to know this is bad. Well, the clock struck 8 and it's closing time, so pour the drinks and have a little merry. Some wanting a little Pamela, played by Tony Nero. Seems she is 100% on this, despite the clear intentions Andy was showing. She says no. Things get rapey fast, but luckily Billy is there to save the day. But some people just have to look a gift horse in the mouth, so she gets mad and strikes Billy. Shame he's got that Rambo PTSD. You gotta admit, that woman was a definition of mixed signals. Anyways, murder is like Pringles, you just can't stop at one. So he hammers his resignation home. Another co-worker is like it's Christmas time, not hammer time, and attempts to flee. Using her hat as a trick, she manages to attack from behind and make it to the door, but the ever-so-talented Billy gets her back. What follows is Sister Margaret showing up and finding the results of the after-work Christmas party. Just wait until she sees what's inside Patrick's secret box's secret compartment. Next, he goes on a series of killings, including a pinup girl gone wrong, and a few bullies get the wrong kind of sleigh. The only one to survive his warpath is a little girl who insists she's been good all year. Well, here's a box cutter. If you're thirsty, go ask the Grinch for a glass of water. By now, the police are out in force looking for who they've dubbed the Santa Killer.
Hold it! Stop right there!
Daddy.
Daddy?
Eventually, Captain Richard, played by H.E.D. Redford, alongside Sister Margaret, determined Billy must be going for Mother Superior. As the two of them rush for the school, an officer ahead of them spots Santa. However, it's the wrong one.
Barnes wanted the guy to stop, Captain. He didn't respond.
Of course not. He's deaf. He couldn't hear it.
Yeah, this doesn't sit well with Mother Superior, who is now wheelchair-bound and is seemingly more caring towards the children.
No one is going to get in that doesn't belong here.
One officer down later.
All right. Andrew, where do you think you're going? Come on, we need answers.
These are some really dumb kids. I mean, not only did they all see Santa get gunned down, they were all within hearing range of the officer saying not to open the door. Anyways, we get our final showdown between the PTSD-riddled 18-year-old Santa Killer and the wheelchaired nun who, far as he knows, and to be fair, is a superior bitch. Yeah, so with just a handful of rounds, Billy is killed, Mother Superior lived, and the children are safe.
You're safe now. Santa Claus is gone.
Oh, but let's hedge our bets and end on sequel bait.
Naughty.
Silent Night Deadly Night was made on a budget of $750,000 in Heber City and Midway, Utah, USA. Filming was done December 1983 to February 1984, but the story surrounding Silent Night Deadly Night started long before then. Executive producer Scott J. Schneid was accepting screenplays from amateurs, and one that slid across his desk was He Sees You When You're Sleeping, written by then Harvard student Paul Kamey. Supposedly, Schneid found the screenplay to be trash, but he liked the concept of a killer Santa. That being said, he wasn't a big fan of slashers. Contacting writer Michael Hickey, the new screenplay was passed to TriStar, who agreed to fund and distribute the film. Being produced by Sleigh Ride Productions, Inc., the film was initially called Sleigh Ride. Notably, Sam Raimi was considered for a directing position. The two major locations of the film were the orphanage and the toy store. The orphanage was an abandoned school building which was destroyed shortly after filming. Meanwhile, the toy store was a vacant building the crew rented and is, as far as I can tell, a gym currently. Now, you need to understand that the idea of a killer Santa wasn't particularly new. It had been done before in Christmas Evil and a Tales from the Crypt episode. Those behind the film believed they'd received backlash more so for the portrayal of the Catholic school system. Thus, it was decided distribution would be done in the majority Protestant Midwest, and then they'd released in the Northeast section of the United States that was primarily Catholic. Ironically, the idea of a killer Santa being a problem never occurred to them, so the advertising pushed the killer Santa angle heavily. This would garner controversy when it aired trailers on TV. Being the holiday season, the trailers ended up mixed in with all sorts of programs that families supposedly had on with children around. The general reason for protesting the film and pushing for it to be removed from theaters was, quote, most protests were generated by the feeling that the depiction of a killer in a Santa Claus suit would traumatize children and undermine their traditional trust in Santa Claus, unquote. The PTA back group that picketed and pushed against the film called themselves Citizens Against Movie Madness. Now, a fair portion of my audience are gamers, and most gamers around my age remember Doom, or at the very least the controversy surrounding Doom, or even other games like Mortal Kombat. These people fail to acknowledge that it was an R-rated film that only they could take a kid to see. Back then, I don't know if you could even take a kid to see an R-rated film. Well, adding fuel to these attention-starved parents was Siskel and Ebert. To put it lightly, they didn't hold the film all that highly. going as far as to try and publicly shame the crew by naming them off.
People who did it. TriStar Pictures, co-owned by Columbia Pictures, CBS, and Home Box Office. Shame on you. So let me repeat the names of the writer and director and producers of this film. Michael Hickey wrote the film, Charles E. Sellier Jr. directed it, and Ira Richard Barmack produced it. You people have nothing to be proud of, even if you made a few bucks off of all the negative publicity. Your profits truly are blood money.
Yeah, Siskel, this is blood money like you have a full head of hair. Honestly, I could do a full video on them, but enough of that for now. Just know that Mickey Rooney despised the film, and this will be funny later. But hey, did all this idiocy hurt the film? Did it hurt Doom? Yeah, this film released on the same weekend of the dream slasher classic Nightmare on Elm Street. Even against this classic, it excelled, managing to outdo the competition by $161,800. This was primarily thanks to releasing twice as many theaters. It would go on to have a box office revenue of $2,491,460 here in the States. And where are the people complaining about the movie? Probably dead. But their kids probably went on to complain about tits in a volleyball game or something. I'll have Good Bad Flicks video linked. He goes a bit more in depth should it interest you. One last detail I don't really know how to put cleanly in. The director wasn't comfortable handling the gore or kill scenes. Instead, directing duties were handed to editor Michael Spence. Anyways, that's Silent Night, Deadly Night. You know what? It's okay. Don't get me wrong, it's a pretty solid film, goes against the typical trend of the slasher formula. Usually you focus on the victims and then you see them slaughtered. This film did the opposite, having us follow and learn about the killer. It's all done perfectly well, and I would even go so far as to say I'd happily enough watch it again next year. It simply didn't do much for me. I suggest it, but if you asked me to pop in any film, this wouldn't be my go-to choice. I find the story surrounding its controversy more interesting, to the point I'd rather hear more about it and what happened. But again, don't get me wrong, what you get is more of a psychological thriller with a spicing up slasher than just a typical slasher. However, it must be said that of the two films that attempt this style, it's by far the better one. Sorry, Rob. Didn't hate your Halloween, but this one is simply better. So yes, if you haven't seen the movie yet, check it out this Christmas. I suggest the most recent Blu-ray, as it truly improves the film's visuals over the original VHS versions. And yes, we will be taking a look at the entire series. Maybe Superior will get what she should have gotten in this film. Like, I see what you did, making her look out for the children and such. Nice character arc. However, she legit should have died at the end. What did old Georgie say? It's like poetry. It sings. What is a carol but poetry you sing?
31 bucks. Merry fucking Christmas.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.